Hello and welcome back to ESA Cup Season 8. I'm Naj and I'm joined by the wonderful Dianic.
Hi
Say
guys!
hello.
I sneaked my way again into another cast. Happy to be here. It's going to be a banger of a game.
It is. We've got a lot going on. And well, the Swiss system is already well underway, so we will quickly run through a few things. Today, who have we got playing, Dianic?
Well, we have 3 games today prepared for you guys. We have Ghost Army against French Power. The second game is then gonna be Minions by MG. Minions by Molotov, or why is MG short? Anyway. So basically just Minions for their name against Molotov Gang. And as a third and final game of tonight, we're gonna have Aspire by SFO against Pulsar Legacy. So 3 banger games I think we're gonna have. All of them best of ones as well. So it's going to be rather tricky because I know what your opinion on best of ones is, Nash, and I think by now people know what my opinion is. I think it doesn't show exactly what the power of a team shows, but I think it's going to be rather interesting between all of these 6 teams today.
Yeah, I think when it comes to best of ones, it's like you can just ban out a lot of what you're not comfortable with. So you kind of end up with like a middle ground that usually tends to favour one side. But we have some more stuff to quickly touch on. We have the staff prediction for the actual whole of this play day, and it does look like there's a lot of I was gonna say there's a lot of the same logos, but actually looking at the sort of top row, we do see quite a bit of like equality between the two. So
Mm,
mm, very
exactly.
positive. Carry on.
Yeah. The match launch seems very much nearly 50-50, both the logos being predicted both the teams being predicted nearly the same time. If we look at the match 2 though, we do see that the favor falls into one team more
Yeah,
on the match 3. If you look again, here again, it is a little bit more 50-50 on both ends. So the second match,
yeah,
if the predictions are correct, should be pretty much one-sided to Minions. But for the rest, it does seem like 50-50 overall. And the staff, I think, may have gotten good predictions here. Because if it's
yeah.
50-50, we might have a lot of games going into the overtime.
Well, overtime is one of those that we don't really see amazingly often early on in the tournament. But it's definitely not something I'd be opposed to. It's something that we would like to see. We've also got the community prediction. We'll quickly gloss that over the stream just to see what people think. And it is pretty much 70% in favor of Mafia Squad, which is pretty intense when you're looking at a 50-50 vote from the production.
Same
Do you
thing,
want to
pretty
hand us off
much.
to Matt Bans?
Should I have the honor to put us into the map ban? I think you guys already have it below us, but you guys can see the map ban. Which map are we going to? And it's going to be Chalet as the first opening map of tonight in this first game. Nash, your opinion
Yes.
of Chalet as an opening map, as the first map we see tonight. I know you had the fear, and you had the fear we're gonna see a clubhouse. And honestly, I've also past few weeks in too much clubhouse. But even though I love clubhouse, I wanted to see clubhouse. But Nash, why didn't you want to see clubhouse? Why did you want to have a chalet here?
This is a little bit of a criticism towards the side of Mafia Squad or Ghost Army, but I watched their clubhouse game against F7 in the last season, and it was one of the worst games of Siege I've seen. Just because of simple mistakes, they were not kind of doing very simple things, especially on the defense. It became like very sort of repetitive and stale, and yeah, it was difficult to sort of watch because I know these players are good, but it's a shame, really. But yeah, then, well, we're gonna head into the game, seeing Chalet. I don't know quite how far through the fans we are, but we will have to just wait and see.
As you said, there's a lot of things to improve on the side of clubhouse, but we are not quite going to see that map, as we might have a little bit of a surprise coming through from both these 2 teams. I have not seen any of these 2 teams play yet. Like, handful, being straight honest with you guys, I have not seen any of these 2 teams play. I think Nash may have seen or the ones who are regularly watching ESA, you guys already have your favorites. We saw the community votes coming in being a little bit more favored to one team, and the staff predictions being pretty much 50-50. So I think the bans are going to determine a little bit more which team is going to have the upper hand, but the first 2 rounds are going to be a pretty good key indicator here, because if the first 2 rounds go to the defense, I think nothing surprising there. It is defender side that matter, but if the first 2 rounds go to the attack, we could see Ghost Army already running away with it, because let's be honest, getting attack rounds is hella difficult in this matter.
Yeah. Currently, it very much is. And I think something I should indicate is, out of the 6 teams that we will be seeing today, the unknown presence in the entire sort of format here is going to be French Power. So it's one of the first teams that we're watching. They are like the team that we really haven't seen too much up to this point. So I'm very interested to see what they decide to bring to the table. The bans they decide to go for. I very much like the Flores ban. Means they're probably going to resort to a bit more of that methodical style of siege and try and use different operators to sort of combat that on their attacking half. So that'll be very interesting to see. The Ying and the Solace go out to try and counteract those aggressive plays and rushes. And then more than likely we'll see a Fenrir here, which is what we do see, because, well, it's Fenrir. He's not exactly fun.
Even if the Fenrir is not quite fun, he's not here anymore. So that leaves us still with a few mat operator being open, for example, like Emira. We've seen her being played quite a lot, but also Nazami, that those 2 operators, especially on this map, are kind of 2 key operators, which you can bring nearly much on every side. You can bring on the top floor, you can bring on the kitchen side, games, bar, and even on the basement floor. Every side you can find a place for these 2 operators. And especially going now in the first round, we see both of them already being played. So they're bringing out the mass operators. We also have a little bit of a fallback here with the Wumai, with the Jaeger. Even though Ying has been banned out, we do know that a lot of teams tend to then bring a lot of flashbangs. Flashbangs also being super OP from the attacking side. Ever since nades have been nerfed, you only see, or quite nearly only see, flashbangs being brought. So getting here the Wumai and the Jaeger, it's gonna help with that, but also it's gonna help with the Capital, right? And with the Grim Bees, so much utility they can catch and make sure it's not getting through. So already based on the bans, we do see a lot of counter pick coming through from the defensive side, without even knowing that they're kind of counter banning the attack, right? Because Capital with the Wumai, he's counter banned. The B-man, so Grim, same thing there. Brava can be shot. Sledge has nade, but let's be honest, the nades to be actually be as big of an impact's not quite going to be. And then at the end we have the Ash, which does counter the mirror. But here,
I love this play.
Yeah, they're just waiting for it.
Yeah, just deciding not to place it down for a little while and then having to eventually go for it. Something I am very interested in seeing at the moment is we do have a lot of very slow, sort of like execute heavy operators on the attacking side. So I'm pretty sure that's more than likely what we're going to be orienting ourselves towards. But Maxarino goes flying out of a doorway and finds himself 1 kill onto the hanging man. But as 2 more come his team's way, that's going to be him falling. We are looking at a very strong defender side right now.
With 2-4 Sun, I think it does look like that we're going to see the first round going to the defensive side. We still have the Bees, we still have the Grim in a pocket. We could still use them for a little bit of a few kills, for a little bit of information. Just gonna have to make sure that we find these next few picks, as another one's gonna fall to the hands of Zerino here.
Not impossible, well, but very hard.
Would have been a long way to clutch a 1v4, but I think that's...
Yeah.
Ooh!
The Vector.
A little shot coming through there. That was quite cheeky.
We love those. That's ideal situation for the defenders there, managing to find themselves in a much better position coming into the later portion of the round. They were actually able to, you know, just bring themselves in to this sort of mindset where they weren't afraid to go for these runouts. They weren't afraid to take these positions that they knew weren't being heavily contested, and that is something that really allowed the defenders a bit of freedom. because there was a bit of a lack of pressure coming out of the attacking side.
Exactly. Can pretty much only agree, and this is why I mean, if we go back to the operators, which we talked about in the ban phase, but also in the first round, yet again another side, yet again a side where we can bring the mirror, we can bring the Azami, and as much as we hate to say it, Azami yes has been nerfed, but it's still considered super strong. You can shoot out your gadget, but it just takes a lot of time.
There's actually a new challenger. Another member of the Big Five that is currently on the defender-sided roster, and that's the Valkyrie on Zeruno. One of those operators that's a bit less talked about, because people seem to think that she's fallen out of the meta with very minimal changes. Like, she hasn't really changed at all. Or not the meta, but fallen out of the Big Five, should I say, on the defense. But no, she's still very much there. She's still very much prominent. If used the right way, she still can be just as powerful as she was before. She's here, and once again, in use. Going to be seeing her in this competitive format. She's going to be standing around in blue at the moment, just trying to find some information.
Do you think Valkyrie can be very powerful here, but also because of the C4 from below, right? We have...
Yeah.
Usually you have the attacking side going to the top floor side, trying to take the top floor control, and then potentially to use some verticality, but also to just be able to reach kitchen and have an easier way. As soon as office is open, as we can see, that's the key point here from the side of Ghost Army. What they want to achieve is now the breach doors open. The first one's gonna fall, it's gonna be taken out of the lobby immediately. That's the C4 gone, and that's a player as well. As Mute Ronin's gonna find himself now being the cameraman for this round. And the Valkyrie still being below the C4 now. If she would rotate back to side, she could potentially find herself with a kill on the verticality, but also find herself maybe finding a kill from Garage, right? Because she is below, there is wooden floor, so she can go for a C4. Like, I think the cameras combined with the C4 is so much more powerful, which a lot of people tend to forget.
Yeah. When it comes down to the Valkyrie, the vertical pressure is like very strong. So I think that potentially having her downstairs could be a very important factor. But I mean, at the moment, she's kind of just playing around that sort of, West Main windows. See if she can maybe catch out the person that was over there. Kenzie going to be playing the split theory, holding off the little connector through bedroom window, catch any players that are going to be trying to rotate backwards, and no one really doing so at the moment, as Azami is going to be the only person on that side. Alongside the Valk now, as she is joined, a trade comes through. C4 finds a teammate, and that's going to be a 2 versus 3 for these defenders.
Now, man advantage does go to the attacking side, so they're looking in a pretty good spot here to take this round, but also with that, we're entering the last 30 seconds of this, so it's the push is going to happen now or never. As we can see the next few swings coming in, the pick as well with that, and a 1v4 is a 1v3, a little bit of a long run. The plant is not down yet. The defenders either need to survive these or need to clutch this 1v3, and that's why I mean coming through, having the information as the shot through the window, and the attackers, Ghost Army, they take a round and they move it up to a 1-1 neutral scoreline.
Indeed they do. They've managed to get it to 1-1, as you said, and I think that if they're able to start to find more rounds here, pretty much as you said, it's going to start looking very good for them on the side of the attack, especially with them coming on to their defense sometime soon. And with the way Chalet's played at the moment as well, kind of tending to avoid the top and bottom floor, and it really coming down to personal preference as to which one you use as a tertiary. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what sort of style of play the teams actually decide to bring along to counteract each other, whether it be for the defense or the attack. And at the moment, the only real major change on the side of the defense is, well, seeing a lack of an Azami in favor of a Jaeger and a lack of a Valkyrie in favor of a Cade. So, a little bit interesting.
Yeah, we have the adaptation now coming through from French Power, so that could be already going, like, could be the first few major changes, could be the first few changes that they would need for a win, but it could also be the first changes to a lose, right? Because bringing in the Kaid, it's gonna help with the breach, and what did Ghost Army did last time? They opened up the breach pretty quickly in the round, so that is a good adaptation coming through. But here, the Jaeger, we didn't see too much utility usage from Ghost Army, where we could say, okay, we definitely need the Jaeger here. We definitely need him because there were just too many flashbangs or too many nades or too many something, right? And even now, we can look over to the side of Ghost Army. We don't have too much flashbangs. We don't have too many nades with exactly one set of each. So those are 5. So potentially here you wouldn't even need a Jaeger. So the Jaeger adaptation could be here a little bit of a, how to say, grippen in. There's a German saying for this, right? Like when you try to make something, an adaptation, but it just wasn't it, right? It's hard to say, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Language barrier here, getting very hard.
No, I get what you mean. I think at the moment the Jaeger, the main purpose of him is to really sort of assist the mirror, because well, the breaching charges can be caught by ADSs. So yeah, you do see 2 ADSs just sitting on the planter. So they are going to be able to, catch out the Ashe breaching charges when when the hard breach actually does get the main wall open. Legion going to be losing his life inside of Piano as he takes a bit of damage from the split theory window. It is going to be Tom's to make his way forward, contest onto the mirror window, but Seijiro manages to find one of his own. A second soon to follow as, well, now we're down 3 on the side of this defense. Only a TCSG and a Vector in hand, and well, 2 guns that are very capable of bringing this back if they need to. A bit of damage found onto the mirror. C4 above finds the IQ, and now we're in a much more comfortable position. Still very uncomfortable, but much more comfortable than it was for these defenders.
Talk about comfortable or not, we do have another one falling down. A 1v4 is a little bit of a longer way here to go. C4 already used for a kill, so this potentially 1v5. Asujo's gonna find the last one, and that is a triple for him, secured the round. And Ghost Army gonna move up another point, and now, this is what I meant by the attack moving and having more rounds onto their side. It's already struggling for French power, because defender-sided matter, we like to praise it, we like to say it, but at the end of the day, it's just how it is. You see more rounds being won by the defense, you see more rounds being secured by the defense, and now we have the exact opposite. Now we have Ghost Army securing the points on the attack, and we see it in all other tournaments. Also in Tier 1, as soon as the attack starts to put these rounds in, to get the upper hands on these attacking rounds, and then when they swap to the defense, they have an easy way to go to the match point. And this is both scaring here for French, but even though we've only seen 3 rounds, and this is potentially the 4th round where French ball playing already in a spot which they have won once.
I love
this. This was their first opening pick. This was their first opening win as well in this match. So this could go up to a 2-2. But there again, you don't want to give more to your enemy, right? A full 2, that split is what you're aiming now for French ball. This is what you want, because as soon as you're on a 3-3 split and a neutral split, or even more for the side of Ghost Army, it could already not look too good for you when you start into the attack, because defender-sided meta is always going to favor the defending team, because one fact that it can never put away from this game is the time. The time will always be ticking for the defenders.
Yeah, I was just watching the mirror setup site there. I love the way this sort of site hold goes, because it's very reminiscent of the sort of cafe ideology with reading, where you just kind of open footholes along the entirety of the meeting site and just like ignore it. Have some players in mining and trains and that sort of thing, and then you just exist and don't really touch that site unless you need to crossfire into it. And that's sort of what they're doing here with Bar. They've opened up head holes along that entire wall. They're utilizing the mirror window to, actually be able to take advantage of that. The Ashe doesn't look like she's going for the mirror below straight away, which is going to be a little weird if she does decide to, come in for a bit of a later rotate without any of those breaching charges left, which, well, she doesn't have any. She might have gotten the mirror, I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like she will have. Yeah.
It's already gone.
Either way, this sort of like setup is a lot of fun to play around, and I think that it requires a bit more brain power to try and come up against such an unorthodox strategy so soon into the match.
Exactly, and with that, we also have the first opening pick falling to French Power. Now, this is the second time they had the opening pick into their hands, so it's already looking pretty good for them that they could secure this round. As the time is ticking, another one's gonna fall, but this time we have the equal. This is now Ghost Army taking one, potentially two there as well. 4v3 already not looking too good to their side, but we do see Tom's falling as we find the next few kills. All of a sudden in a 3v2 scenario, we know where one of these players is. A little bit of a trade coming through, and this is the end of the round as we do just walk on site. Just get the kills one by one, as the hatch is going to be a little bit of a problem working against you instead of with you. Nice, Ghost Army extending the lead even further. Now, Nash, where is the key problem now from
Um,
the side of French Power?
Well, trying to rotate without information, which is what the Azami did there, is definitely a bit of a blunder, for lack of a better word. It's one of those where you are rotating against a barricade that you guys shut at the start of the round. You know is now open, and it's kind of that sort of like misplay, maybe miscommunication from the Frost that's on the stairs. Whatever else, if realistically. I think that if you're unsure about whether you're going to be able to help a player like that, Frost is probably better off leaving for dead and looking for a trade. So that's a bit of a question mark for me. And then also, at the moment, whereas we are seeing a lot of like competence in these gunfights, I'm not really seeing any like mid-round adaptation. They're adapting to each other on the fly. We can see the knock, we can see the buck, the gridlock being brought in these rounds now, and on the defensive side, you've got like the Wamai that keeps swapping in and out. You've got the Goyo that we've got now instead of Mira or Azami or Valk, and it's very nice to see that they're changing up their lineup. They're experimenting with things, trying to see what catches the enemy team out, but it's not great that it doesn't seem to kind of mesh. And
Well,
I think
as you said, the mid-run adaptations are pretty important, which are not quite happening here, but as we're just starting in the round number 5, and this could be for French Power the first time after a few rounds to get themselves the first pick here. Also with the opening pick now secured, it was on the IQ, so that those are 2 nades gone, and also a very important gadget. We might not have a Valkyrie now on board, but it also every gadget can be seen from it and also given information in case somebody's on the campus. And the second kill is going to be found on the Nook to play, which I was kind of worrying about, just for the matter of fact, because she can always sneak around. She can potentially just come up solo stairs and nobody would have noticed her, but now she's gone from the board. It just relaxes a little bit my heart, because no more sneaking around. Every player is now seen and ready and needs to take this fight, as we do find the first trade up here. But is this enough? As Nord finds another run and back to a 3v3. Will this be enough? Will these 2 opening picks and the time was be enough for French Power to get the pick, Nash?
Well, I'm not too sure. We are seeing a bit of contention from below, but it's like when it comes down to these sort of gunfights that we're seeing them get into as a whole, they just seem very messy, like people kind of not really being ready to take fights against people that they know are coming. And I think that we just need a bit more preparation. We just need to be a bit more ready, even if we're just kind of firing wildly at where we think the player's coming from. Being able to actually have that sort of advantage is going to be so ideal, but Rises finds the last as an easy little double kill for Ronin. Brings us to the end of this round. The defenders managed to get themselves a bit closer to that equilibrium at 3-2.
Now we've seen a pretty good hold, which was on the top floor. So meaning we cannot play the side for the next few rounds. So now we have to go back to the sides we've already lost, or which we haven't played until now. Which is, for example, would be the basement spot, but we did decide from the side of French Power to go to Bar Gaming. We've won it once, we've lost it once, so looking pretty good to potentially extend it here to make it a 3-3 neutral swap. But still, the questions come. A 3-3 split. Yeah, we really talked about it. It's not a good spot you want to be in as a defender. But we've seen 6 rounds. We've seen 5 rounds being played. Do you think, Nash, the French Bell can extend this to a 3-3 split? Like, what is their key points? What do they need to do here in order to get this round into their side?
I mean, realistically, yeah. There was just a quick little message in chat that I'm going to quote from Dipsy, which is literally just it's 10 people running around without intel. There's a lot of like sort of missed info that the attack isn't kind of choosing to gather. And then on the opposite side, the defenders aren't really utilizing the intel they bring nearly as well as they could be. So I think that just like playing positions, you know, making sure to favor your life over the position you're in, pretty much no matter what position you're in. And, you know, just be ready to bunker up in like a 4 versus 5 or a 5v5, because it's like, even if you're at a 4 versus 5 and you're at the disadvantage on the defense, it's still pretty harrowing for attackers to try and push you. It's difficult. So they would have to like gather real information on you that's like live as, you know, stuff's going on, in order to be able to get themselves in and embedded into the site. But it's like, if you're in a 5v5 and you've all favored your lives, that's so much harder, and I think defenders need to play off their lives more. That's a really nice keeper barricade, by the way. I saw our producer just quickly showing it, or our observer quickly showing it off. It's a very interesting way to place it. For anyone unaware of how keeper barricades work, she probably just stood next to it while she was placing it to block its, you know, growth on that side.
Well, down to a man advantage to Ghost Army. They've extended their lead even further also now in this round. These 2 picks have already happened, but they had to say goodbye to Kenzie here. As he was the first one to be taken out. It was only the Ashe, so it's nothing too tragic, as the Ashe usually has the pressure to be the entry pick, to be the first one to go in and to apply the chaos onto the side. And 2 defenders had fallen to her hands. And now we are on the last 40 seconds of this round where we need to make this push happen. We do have the crossfires, we have the verticality coming through, but another one's gonna fall with a little bit of a pickup, all up to 1 person. We find 1, but there's 3 more to go, 1 above. We get the kill, but slowly not quite getting it, as we are now low HP. We have the information, 1 is on Mezzo. We need to find his head right now. With a beautiful pick, or we're gonna be the first one to take it out, and that is a 4-2 round swap to the side of the attackers. Ghost Army extend the leads by 1 more round, which I think, based on your own know, is not what you expected.
Indeed. It's definitely not what I expected coming into this game. Yes, a bit of an unknown factor on the defensive side, as I said at the very beginning, from French Power. But I think that potentially with the natural sort of aggression that they seem to both sort of show with their like questionable intel gathering, but very sort of like ready to take engagements, try and take fights, try and, you know, I'm gonna swing you and it's gonna work sort of mentality, like the Shaiko mentality. It's one of those where you kind of look at it and you think, well, this could be so much better if they were able to just, you know, keep track of their info game a little better. So I think that it could be a very attacker-sided game for both of these teams.
Okay, so you said this could be very attacker-sided. This could be, as you said, like the info gathering from both these 2 teams lags, especially on the attacking team. We saw them just push free, sometimes taking the risk on these peaks. From the defensive side, we have the information coming through from the Valkyrie, so there we should have the infos to peak, we should have the confidence to peak there as well, but now they're starting on the defense with a 2-round lead, so they could potentially extend the lead even further and go close to that match point. Because it is a best of one, there's nothing to rely after this. As soon as they lose this map, it's over for today, right? If Galne lost, the winner gets a few points and they move up onto standings. Another round has been opened. Not a kill yet, but the time is just taken down, as we can see. Ghost Army, they're just taking it a little bit slow so far. Not too quick, but I just want to make sure they have the information in order to push here. We do find the first one, the second one on the top, but it's a piece for each side. Down to a 4v4.
That we are, as now we're going to be seeing a bit of contention on the mezzanine area. We do see a player just coming in through those laundry... I almost called them laundry stairs. I played Oregon earlier, that's why. Coming in through those main stairs. Going to be caught out by Legion if they're not careful, though, but neither of them actually acknowledge each other. Legion just barely missed IQ. She is already making her way up the stairs. Could catch out Azami here if she's really going for it. Azami isn't quite aware. She does find one for her troubles, though, before she goes down. And now, we're in a much better position for these attackers. Once again, trying to find more as they do find the man that's lurking behind. The last two players remaining last on site, as they are going to be trying to get themselves driven deeper into this blue side and also the main breach. But first, they need to get rid of this mute jammer.
Kenzie's playing a very important position here. There's a little bit of a sneak as he just stands up, finds one, but it's going to be traded out immediately. All up now in a 1v1. This could be the chance for Iron here to extend their lead to make this a 5-2. But it is the 1v1. There is still a C4 in pocket he could potentially use. Knows where where the last enemy is, but it's just the swing comes in. It is a trade coming through, but the plant wasn't there. So it is Ghost Army making it a 5-2 because the diffuser was not planted. The time ran out and it was a trade. What a beautiful flick though from the side of French Power. Even though it was not a win, that was a quite impressive flick.
The 5-2 is like where it starts to become a bit more harrowing as well. It becomes a bit scarier for both of these teams, but mainly the team that's behind. So French Power going to be quaking a little bit in their boots, probably going to be looking to try and fight tooth and nail to equalize before they go to either the fabled overtime or even just you know, to a regulation win for themselves. That's what they want here.
Just a bit scary, right? The 5-2 factor. It's never impossible, right? You can always come back. But especially when you are now in this moment, it's just a lot of mentality as well, because it is scary to be in a 5-2 moment. It is scary that you know you just lost your defense with 4-2 in the first attacking round in a 1v1. You could make it. It was a clutch. It was a 1v1. It was a trade-off at the end. But if the diffuser is not planted, it does go to the defensive side. Now with the next round starting, round number 8, Ghost Army is looking pretty good, and we're gonna have to say it. Even though the attack from French Power was pretty strong at the end, it just wasn't enough to get that round on their behalf. Next round started. This is now... They're gonna have to get these next 3 rounds if they don't want their opponent to go immediately onto a match point, because as soon as their opponent is on a match point, they've secured themselves basically the overtime if they don't get straight wins to just close up the round, right? As French Power find the first opening pick now onto Tom, it's gonna be the first one to be taken out, and he's gonna have to be the cameraman for the rest of this game now. And
indeed,
it's just, I love being a cameraman. It's just me.
That's where I end up most of my ranked games, can't lie. Cameraman.
It's okay, we've all been there.
Yeah, fragging's not my forte, it's fine, but we are in a competitive match filled with these fabled fraggers. Going to be looking for the breach to be open. The man prone behind it is going to be able to try and take the swing past the ESA shield, but gets caught out by the re-swing by that PDW. And now it's going to be a 3v5. Once again, I think we're looking like we're in a bit of a good position for these attackers. They're going to be wanting to try and get it a little bit further driven through on this upstairs, but with Kenzie going down, that's going to mean the castle has to fall off at least a little bit, or at least play very safely. He is going to be playing very safely at the moment, but now this aggression could very much cost his team the round in a situation that maybe isn't the most winnable, but still could work.
Exactly, as you said, it's not the most winnable, but it's also not impossible. As we go down from a 2v5 to 1v4, another pick happening, and it's gonna have to be 1v4, 1v5. If he wants to clutch this, the ace needs to come through. He does find the first two. Where the rest three players, his next few shots going through, just giving away where he is, right? Giving away also the opponents where they are. But slowly but steady, they're gonna have to push, they're gonna have to find this enemy. As it's gonna be the last one to fall. So Rises is gonna find a kill in this round. Gonna move up one match point. They're gonna move up closer to the scoreline as French Power go up one more. Now, what was the big difference from French Power? Why did they succeed in this round, and why couldn't they do it in the first round, Ash?
Well, it was very much the fact that they kind of did a bit of a Palu impression from SI and just kind of, well, to do a Palu impression, you need to be allergic to being inside, but they got in the building, they started placing down their utility. Like, for example, the Osa did a beautiful job to bait out the Jaeger. She placed down the Osa shield, wasn't going to sit on it because she knew that if she sat on it and droned, they were probably just going to impact it and kill her anyway. So instead, she rotated over towards the Mez area and decided that she was going to try and drone from there. And obviously, Jaeger decided to take a swing. And then also, when she had positioned herself behind the half wall, she just sat very still. The castle pushed up to the Osa shield, paying more attention to the right side of the breach, which is where the Osa shield was placed, angled towards. And yeah, got himself caught by the Osa that was a bit further forward. So it's that sort of situation where you're able to play off of the mental of these players and like the decisions that they're gonna make that really show off sort of that you've done your research and you've paid attention coming into this matchup.
Beautiful said. Ghost Army do have now another try as they decide to go back to the kitchen side, potentially go here on a match point. But you have the reputation, as you said, now coming through a little bit. As French Power, they have also adapted with their operator lineup, also getting rid of the mirror windows, which are gonna be now maybe in the opening round not quite too much of a pain to deal with, but late in the rounds, as they're now gone, you don't have to worry about them, but they can safely peek around. One of them is gone, the second one does still seem to be up. But Aaron here on the bottom floor didn't quite have the information. Does find the first few shots coming in. Also is gonna find the first opening pick. That is the not gone, the sneakeroo person as well. Standing now as a man pass now onto their side. Also pretty much big health advantage. The Soul Rises is low HP. And he's gonna have to fight this rest of the round with a slither of his HP left. With 1 minute 25 seconds left on the clock. They might be allergic to going into the site, but can they be enough allergic? Get onto the site to plant and get a kill and get around, right?
Not too sure. They're going to be opening up the breach though, and this is going to be the players running in through onto the site, getting the plant down. C4 comes out, but I think it's a bullet from above that found the man with the kit. And now Gridlock going to be the person who's left to try and salvage on this bottom floor. Buck jumps in the piano window, trying to take the engagement against the Valkyrie that is going to be postured up the stairs, but she finds a vertical angle onto the Gridlock. And now this final remaining player that is around upstairs has also been spotted by that same Valkyrie. Going to be trying to take the engagement, but instead he decides it's time to take the drop onto the hatch. The man inside of Trophy finds that kill through the head holes from far away, and that is going to be the round over in favour of the defense once again, bringing us to 6-3.
What is a 6-3? Exactly a match point. Opening up the round with a beautiful kill, and after that just reacting upon what happened from the push. think put them in a really, really good spot. Now they have the match point. They could potentially secure this with a clean 7-3, could already move further, as now 3 rounds have passed and they could go back to the spot they've won originally. The first round they played in the defense, they played top floor, office, and master bedroom. Now they go back to the side and it's looking pretty good into their favor, into their odds. They can secure this round and move on with a clean 7-3, and that will be the best of 1 gone and over. But the real question starts here, Nash. Do you think a comeback is possible? Like 6-3 is not impossible, right? It's just a little bit of a long way. But do you believe that we're going to see French Paw have a little bit of an awakening? And are we going to see an overtime?
My realistic answer is no. Which is unfortunate. But my optimistic answer is yes. We very well could see the side of French Power be able to win these 3 in a row. Or not French Power, the side of Ghost Army be able to win these 3 in a row. I'm confusing myself now, help. Yeah, French Power win these 3 in a row and get themselves into a position where they are able to, you know, kind of be a bit more comfortable. The problem is things like this. We obviously see the Legion fall in return, but Margin going to be just leaving the game for some apparent reason. But it's too late for a rehost. Well, Lamai finds 1 more. And the problem is the fact that you kind of have to win 3 in a row, and those 3 in a row are either going to be the same site or a full site rotation. Well, it can be anything from the same site 3 times to a full site rotation. And that's where it gets a bit difficult, because not only are you giving them more time to adapt, but Max! Chill. Breathe. Take a second. That was a beautiful shot. We've got a Wamai on 1 HP, a knock that is going to be running around on that little bit of a sneak to keep himself safe, and an ace that is able to still get those Selmas down.
As we are now in a 2v3 scenario, health advantage pretty much goes to the French Paw. This Node is on a sliver of HP, does not have a C4, has an impact, is currently also the best player from the side of all Ghost Army, so could potentially still turn around quite a lot of things, as the C4 from Casey is also being enhanced. The swing does come from in, a little bit of a long way. We do find one of them being injured, so in a 1v3 scenario with a slither of HP does not look good. The French Power could extend their lead here with the first. We do find 1 with beautiful pre-fire coming through, but careful your low HP. It's going to be Max coming in and finishing off the kill that he couldn't do earlier in the rounds, as he's going to take you out, and that is French Power moving up a 6-4, and I need 2 more wins. And maybe the optimistic part of you is being right here. Maybe you should believe a little bit more.
Maybe it is very possible. We are still waiting on Margin just to see if he is going to be coming back or not. But this little like combination here, this left-right good night coming from Max earlier in the round was absolutely phenomenal. Found the Legion as the first man after, you know, the Legion jumped out and killed Buck. And that's going to be like enough to put some wind in your sails, especially in a position like that where you know no one's really going to be trying to contest you straight away. So he got himself in, got himself active, and then managed to find himself 1 onto the Valkyrie. I think Margin's just looking for that mental reset at the moment. I'm not sure what happened, and I'm not sure why he dropped out, but it was probably for very good reason. But I think at the moment he's using this as to just a way to sort of mentally reset, because he was, I'm pretty sure, 1 and 8, 1 and 9. So obviously he's not having the best of times, but as long as he can sort of rekindle that mental, I'm sure he'll be able to come back into this firing on all cylinders.
2 more runs to go here. And as I said, it's not impossible, it's just a little bit of a way. But this is the point where I do like to say that the demons start to awake, right? Because you're in a 6-4, everybody's spinning here, especially when you play competitive yourself. When you are in a 6-4, you're like, oh, 2 rounds, we get them. 2 rounds are easy. 2 rounds are quick to play. 2 rounds are not as far as 3. So being in the 6-4, a lot of teams then start showing up, a lot of teams start doing the right thing because all of a sudden they're pretty tense, right? And they want to win these matches. So we could potentially see an overtime. And as I said, maybe your optimistic side could be here on the right spot. Maybe you should let your optimistic side sometimes lead you and not always be realistic, right? Because realistic is sad, but sometimes we need copium. We need the copium. And French powers do need right now a little bit of copium. So they managed to go to overtime. I think it would be interesting to see which of these two teams would then close it up.
Not the copium, not again. Here we go, as the defense find the first kill. It's going to be that Malusi hovering around in the basement. This is like one of the few things that I really despise Malusi players for. And that is like, I understand that Malusi was very much one of those operators, similar to Warden, where she could be used for roaming very, very effectively. But I do also feel like that Malusi and Warden make for great anchor operators. And I feel like they're very underrepresented in that regard.
Now, 1 minute and 45 seconds left on the clock. So we can see Ghost Army, they're just waiting. They want to play the waiting game. Is they also have 2 C4s and 5 impacts in the pocket, which they could potentially deny. Quite a lot of plans coming through. But the first one, after each other, they're gonna find themselves getting the picks one by one, and now all of a sudden in a 2v5, they have to clutch this. We have the 2 players. Means and running to get this. My first one's gonna fall down a 1v5. We have the swing coming through, but it's gonna be the flawless round from Ghost Army, clutching up, and that is them getting the points and securing themselves one more map onto their standing. 7-4. Maybe the realistic one this time. But we need
it
to
may well have been. Yeah, copium is something us Europeans are very used to having. Especially after the last year of Siege. But I think that it was a very fun match to watch. I think that both of the teams very much deserved and put their everything into, especially near the end of the game, they were able to actually really look like a bit more competent rosters in comparison to the first half when they were both kind of like fumbling information a little bit. But yeah, that's about all I have to say.
I think you said it very beautiful. At this point, both the teams have something to improve on, and I think if they look back this match, we did point out a few things that they can definitely pick up on for the next few matches. But before we go into the next match, before we continue for tonight, we're gonna go on a quick break, and after the break, we'll be here with the next match. So, see you soon. Toodaloo.
We're back, Dianic! And we have more games! It's great fun to be here once again. Because, you know, console siege, I don't get enough of it. So, we are going to be, once again, just having a look at the production predictions, just to quickly run through what we actually have for this match. And, well, as Dianic pointed out earlier, pretty one-sided for this one.
So we can see most of the staff members pointing towards minions to win this next game. This should be more pleasant. It should be more one-sided, but we already had a pretty much one-sided game. It was a 7-3 the last match we have spectated on Chile Ghost Army against French, but where Ghost Army took the point. And now we have minions against Molotov Gang. And here we see from the staff prediction is looking pretty one-sided. And there's so much to say, there's so much to talk, but there's one thing we need, and that is the map ban, I would say. And after the map ban, we could also see, before the map ban, which I forgot, because not only does the staff has a say on the prediction, but also the community. What does the community think? Which team is going to win? And we also here, we have a little bit of a one-sided. We have minions having 63% and 83%. And 38, just 38 going to Molotov Gang. So again, pretty one-sided to one team. It would be a little bit of an upset if now Molotov Gang will take the victory here, but honestly, Nash, why don't you take us over for the potential map ban? For the potential map we're going to see.
Well, it's the Pasta Pooball special, the one that they hate the most. We're going to be going to Oregon. Very interesting that we saw Nighthaven make it all the way through into the final 3 maps. So neither of these teams really caring too much about the new changed maps or the new / changed maps that are Nighthaven and Consulate. So we did see them make it into the top 4, top 3 for Nighthaven, and I just think in general, Oregon is one of those maps, as I've said many a time in the past. It's extremely fundamental. And I think it genuinely comes down to the mechanical skill and also the ability to come through with these sort of strategic approaches and find succession for either of these teams to find a win. And, well, what do you think we're going to see in these operator bans, Miss Dianic?
Ooh, a bit formal now. Miss Diana. That's a new one. Well, the operator bans are gonna be, I think, pretty standard. I don't think we're gonna see anything dancing too much out of the line. I think we're gonna have pretty standard. I think we're gonna see a Ying. I think we're gonna see a Doka AB. Maybe a Flores on the attack as well. Those are my top 3, which I think we're going to see. And on the defense, then I'm hoping to see an Azami. I'm hoping a team manning Azami. I could see a Mirror as well and a Fenrir. Those are the 3 that I could potentially see on the defense as well. Why am I trying to name 3? It's because most of the maps always have like top 3, which you usually ban on this map is Ying, is Docker, and is Flores. Those are the top 3, which I've seen most of the time is being banned. But it's not gonna be any of these top 3, as we do have a Ying, but the second one is going to be Maverick, which is a little bit of a surprise pick. Why do you think, Nash, we have a Maverick ban coming through and not a Flores or a Docker ban?
More than likely, we're going to be seeing the side of minions favor that attic hold when it comes down to the actual top floor. Alongside that, just being able to, have some relative safety against that bunker wall if you do have it reinforced off, is also a big win. Banning out that Maverick. So seeing Maverick go, seeing Solus and Fenrir go is very standard. Pretty much as you said. There is your sort of general 3 that you do tend to see, and it really depends if anyone tries to throw a spanner in the works, which, well, with Maverick, minions definitely seem to have done that. I think that's going to really affect the way the game's played. We obviously see Ace and Thermite both on the board to, bring themselves into this matchup and see if they can get themselves a bit of contention. But obviously now we know we're on bottom floor. We are going to be seeing the switch onto the Flores. We're seeing the switch onto the Grim. I'm not sure if the Amaru will stick, but more than likely if she does, she'll be straight into that top tower area to try and get some motion in the ocean for the side. And, well, on the side of MVG, on that defense, we do see the Mirror. We do see the Clash, who more than likely is going to be playing inside of blue once again. Or I say once again, also. To, just play that bit of denial. I like this full soft wall on Freezer just to try and make it that bit more sort of awful to take a push against. And I think possibly we will be seeing a play around in the Charla position.
I think those are beautiful analytics there coming through. We are now on the basement spot, as you already mentioned. Now it comes to the point, how do they want to attack? How do they want to take the side, as we do have a clash coming through from Molotov Gang. And not quite too much to deal with. We do have a Thatcher, which is a counter to Clash, but if Thatcher is using his gadget to potentially the hedge, because there is a Kaid to potentially open up the breach, and so many more, these EMPs can be then later used to deal with the Clash. And the Clash is theoretically speaking not even the problem, it's the person behind the Clash, which is the threat, which a lot of teams tend to forget, a lot of teams tend to miss on that point, to just simply forget that point, because when you have a Clash in front of your face, it's like a Montagne. you panic a little bit. You want to look forward to it, but at the end, as I said, it's not the Clash, but it's rather the person behind it. As we see now, the Clash taking a little bit of damage here, but it's not gonna be quite enough yet for a kill.
Indeed, we see a bit of movement from these attackers, just getting themselves into the positions they feel like are necessary, and well, with the hatch being opened, it is going to create a bit of freedom over towards blue because of that mirror window not now being covered. Another thing that is pretty strong to consider is the fact that on the bunker side, they have used the Flores to clear out these Malusi gadgets, and well, those Banshees are going to be a very big problem if not dealt with. And one thing that I really didn't touch on too much is the sheer amount of stall that is sort of on the defensive side right now. They've got the Warden to, play against those flashbangs, play that denial. They've also got the Aid to stall hatches. They've got the Mirror to stall pushes. They've got the Malusi to stall pushes. They've got the Clash to stall pushes. They're very much playing around this sort of stall method or mentality for for the defense on bunker.
But the one thing that they need still to deal with is the aggression from the minions. As we see, they have been pretty much denied from their push. The stalling didn't quite work out as they executed quite early in the round, putting themselves in a good favor. But unfortunately, they were just picked off one by one. Now in a 2v3 scenario, last 20 seconds left, they need to go in with the push. They need to be aggressive here, but what do? There's still a Clash on the board, low HP. There's nothing you could potentially take and use for that. There's another beautiful shot coming through, the last one as well, and that is now the first point to the defense as Molotov secured himself one round onto their hands. This is the defender side again. It is a basement sword, so nothing too surprising to see there why they've secured themselves the opening pick and also the first opening round. So nothing, in my opinion, too surprising there. But you talked about a lot about stalling, how they played around that massa and how they really wanted to just make sure to waste the time from their attackers. From the side of the minions, what went wrong? Why did they lose that round?
They weren't able to find their footing and play against the angles that were really already sort of stapled in from these defenders. Like, I really wanted to touch on the fact that the angle Cade killed Finker through was pretty flippin' beautiful. And then we obviously have now the Valkyrie in play, one that's going to be used for that more intel gain, and still a lot of stall on the defensive side. We do see the sort of utility denial of the 1 the information of the Valkyrie, but generally you have the stall operators, which are the Frost, which is going to be there to trap opponents or even stall them, make them want to look away and shoot the mats that are on the ground. And well, one's been spotted out by Destruct, but I don't know if he's going to be going for the destroy of it just yet. Alongside that, we have the Mute of Klezri, which is going to be intended for the information stall, and then also the Malusi for actually stalling the push, did I say.
Now, the minions have gotten a little bit of damage here, but also secured quite a lot of space with that. Having now Master Bedroom Attic side onto their control, as the first one's gonna fall to a beautiful C4 from down below. Sometimes you still need the cam, sometimes you need to make sure nobody's there, could potentially blow you up. There is one C4 from 2 gone, as the other one's probably going to be saved for the plant. As I said, good control established there. They could potentially push further in, but they're just gonna have to make sure they don't over panic, as this time they're not head heights into attic, so they can focus on the doors. They can focus up on opening up these holes. But as soon as attic breach is open, as soon as they take attic, it's not gonna look too good, and that's gonna be their next step here, because attic is a key position. He is a key spot as the next swing comes in. We does find 1, potentially 2 coming through, but it's just a little bit of a trade, as each side gets 1 of the cake parts. Another 3v4, last minute, 10 seconds left. The defenders find one more, a second one on top, and all of a sudden in a 1v4, next few shots coming through, we find ourselves being injured. 3 more to go. 3 more kills to go to potentially secure this round. To the side of the minions. As the swing comes in by just a pixel peak. Very close, very tight pixel peak. It's gonna be Molotov Gang moving up yet another scoreline and yet another round rotation, as now basement spot and top floor are secured and saved. The last one is going to be a tertiary side.
Indeed, and I think at the moment for the side of MVG, they're just doing very well to play something that I brought up in match number 1, and that is their lives. They're doing very well to keep themselves alive through the round, and once they actually fall into that sort of later round, they're just bunkering up. Even in these 4v5 situations where they have the player advantage, realistically, some teams would want to take the initiative off of that. We are just seeing them instead play this very bunker style hold, very BDS style of gameplay, where they pretty much just play their angles and, you know, play their man advantage in order to be able to take crossfires.
We said beautifully done from the side of Molotov Gang to secure themselves the first 2 opening picks, but now it comes to the question, can they make a 3-round rotation? Can they make it all the way to all 3? And then minions, they're gonna have a little bit of a tougher times. But here again, it is a defensive side, so nothing too surprising to see that they have now the rounds into their favor, which could change as soon as we see the swap coming in. But slowly but steady, minions, they do need to take their first map. They do need to take the first opening and the first win here, because you don't want to push Molotov to having so many rounds in their pocket. As the next few shots coming through, we do find one. That is the Melusi gone, a second one as well. Castle, you're gonna be now spectator for this round. As the shots are just left, right and center, just trying to find these picks, but just a little bit too aggressive there. As we find the trade coming through. Another one as well. Down from a man advantage 5v3 to a 3v3 in just a few seconds. In just a few seconds, being too greedy, just too aggressive. We find ourselves from the side of Minion yet again at an even scoreline.
Now Alex is going to be trying to make his way through on the top floor, just opening up these vertical angles to see down on towards site and maybe try and find an opening to get one of these players on the defense caught out of position. The thermite charge going to be going through to try and open up onto that default plant so they can start getting that diffuser down. Once they get that diffuser down, they're going to be playing a lot on these vertical angles in order to keep themselves safe, and that's going to be a big detriment for these defenders if they're not able to try and hold on to that security position. We do have a Frost chilling around inside of the freezer stairs, potentially going to be rotating through the corridor now, I'm not too sure, and that they are. Has made their way through. It is Wamai, not Frost, I'm stupid, but either way, Frost takes the swing straight after and loses to the same man. He's now left on a very, very low amount of HP, and it's just going to be him and Shtitsipu to try and clear out Glazary.
A 1v2 scenario, but it looks very possible. As Superior is very low HP, we do have the long angle coming through, not quite finding the shots, but we just lost a little bit of HP, so not too much. But we are in the advantage of the castle barricade, just gonna have to make sure there's a long cross that we need to go for. The plant is being stopped, 25 seconds left now to make this. We know somebody's on the right, not quite finding the shots to come through. Another plant attempt, no C4 nor nothing. We need to go for this, because as soon as the plant is down, we're all in a bit of a tough scenario. We know one's on the right, we do find the first one. There's one more to go. Now, the tables have turned, because now we are the one with the low HP and we're closing this corner. We just need to find a headshot first. This is a one-shot headshot game. But it's going to be him taking him out, and that is Minions moving up the first point and securing themselves the win on the tertiary side. But Molotov Gang can now return to the basement spot. And what do they need to do? Naj, what does Molotov
realistically,
Gang need to do?
There isn't a grand amount that needs to be changed. their defense on the basement was so perfect. They were able to play off of the trades. They were able to play off of the bunker position being open, even though they didn't actually have anyone in there, and that really made for a very interesting round, just as a whole. So I think if they're able to maybe be a bit more conservative about these positions where they were losing players previous, we could see a much stronger format from them.
You said it very beautifully there at the end, the 1v1. As I say, it's a one-shot headshot game, so you just gotta find the head first. You gotta be the first one to land the headshot if you want to secure that round. Very unfortunate from the side of Molotov Gang, but at the end it was a 1v1, it was a 1v2. You don't want to be in that position from the beginning after all. You don't want to be left in a 1v2 scenario and then for you needing to clutch it. So Minions just played the number, played the man count, played the diffuser. So that was very beautifully done, but they do need to adapt. As you can see, Molotov Gang, they haven't done too much adaptation. We do have now the shield in elbow, which is going to be taken off very early in the round. So now we know how to defend this, we know how they do, we know what they do. We've taken control pretty quickly. All we need now is to react and make sure that we get the opening pick from the side of Minions if they want to move up another point here.
Indeed, and well, we're going to be seeing a very similar position from Shimizu on the Clash, and with the track stingers coming into play, they are going to be trying to take the engagements against these players. They managed to find the one onto the gridlock herself, which is going to be very good for Glazori, or not Glazori, Shimizu, to be able to, play this position. Glazori falling. It is going to be a bit scarier though. Hog Rider's made his way all the way through, and he's really feeling his aim right now, as he's going to be trying to look for more. That's the second double kill of this game for him. The last one found in the previous round. Now we're going to be in a 2v2 situation. The Clash being alive in this is going to be a little worrying for the attackers, and maybe a little troublesome in towards the later end.
2v2 scenario, Clash alive, giving a lot of information and valuable information where these players are. As we can see, just a little bit of a struggle as we do find the first one to be taken out. Now all up to Clash to make this in a 1v2. The swing comes through, but it's not quite the head yet, but it's going to be the pistol. And yet again, it's Nitsi finding the last kill in the last round, but also here, and that is the Minions moving up yet another point and securing themselves the 2-2 neutral scoreline so far. And now we have the problem from the side of Molotov Gang. Yes, they could go back up to the top floor where they've won the first round. They could now potentially also go down to the basement spots and rethink, redo their positions. But what do they need to change here? We saw now Minions attacking. They changed up a little bit. Their attacking strat didn't push too early in the round, got the information, got rid of utility, and then made their way in. A little bit of an explosive entry as well. But what does Molotov Gang need to do here to secure themselves around here? What are the changes, Nash?
Well, I think the thing that they kind of struggled with in the previous two rounds was just a little bit of over-swinging, like trying to take a few of these engagements a bit too head-on, when they could very realistically be a bit more conservative, maybe play their utility, maybe play their gadgetry or their information in order to be able to give themselves a bit more of an advantage coming into these rounds just as a whole.
That is a good point. We do have the first mirroring, if it comes to it. We have the Clash and the Monty. Both of these two players are shield operators, but only one of them does damage when it comes to the zapping part, but also slowing. So who is going to be here the better shield player? From the side of Molotov, we can see not too much has happened. The Clash still playing on the same spot. The Minions are just very quick on their takes, right? They've already taken meeting, they've already taken so much space into their control. Molotov Gang, they just need to hurry up a little bit here. They just need to make sure that they can waste as much time as possible. As we can see, Minions, they're just being very good to push this time. They're just being so quick and taking the spot. and the room they need in order to have yet another great explosive execute.
Indeed, a bit of contention coming out from Destruct on these backstairs. There's a lot of pressure from the attackers trying to get onto this clash, and well, while it could pay off, it could also be their downfall, as they're not really opening anything else up for themselves. They managed to get the hatch open by the looks of things, as people are just kind of playing around that meeting side, and Clash has fallen back. But it's the defense to find the opening kill, and it's specifically Bokovic on to the player of Schnitzy, who is going to be on that Thatcher.
Schnitzy is the first one to fall. It was the Thatcher. The one player could have dealt against the clash. Another one's gonna fall, but this time to the side of minions, as we do pick the players off one by one down to a 4v4 last minute now, soon left on the clock, and Alex is just playing his life and death here on this mirror window, trying to dance around as much as possible, trying to play a little bit of salsa, as he's gonna be the first one to fall, but direct refrag again, and this is just minions been taken out one by one. All of a sudden in the 1v3, we do find the first, but 2 more to go. We know one's in the corner, but we run out of bullets. But we've been flanked, and this is Molotov Gang taking yet another round on the basement spot, and they can move up to the top floor now and secure themselves a 2-4 swap. As this time, on last time they've played this spot, they've won. So this could potentially be a 2-4 swap, and is it a tragic? Normally, in a default swap on Oregon is a 3-3 split, so minions, they should take this, because it's pretty much even. I don't think, maybe Nash, you have more info on this, but I think Oregon is a very even map. I don't think the defensive side has too much power on this map.
It is very even, but it can be pretty side-oriented, depending on whether the fundamentals of a specific team are better than the others on a specific side. So it's one of those where we could see it go a little 50-50, even if it does go to a 4-2 split in favor of MPG, because it's very possible that their attack is not as strong as Minions' defense, in the same way that it looks this way around.
We enter the last chance for Molotov Gang to extend the lead even further, to potentially have a good start onto the attack, but also this is the last chance for the minions to secure themselves yet another round on the attack. As we now find the opening pick to the side of Molotov. As Destruct's gonna find himself been taken out, it's gonna be now the cameraman for the rest of this round. This is quite an early pick. It was a Twitch as well. We might not have a mirror this time, but we have Goyos, which the Twitch could have dealt with the Twitch could have gotten rid of, to just make the plant spots and just to make the entry spot a little bit more safe. Now this pick at the beginning of the round is just gonna be a tough one, as we do find the equivalent to that, and that is a Goyo gun, a C4 as well. Down to a 4v4 the last 2 minutes.
Indeed, another kill for Hogrider in this round. He's so on right now for his team, and he's doing so much work on the frag front that I think that realistically the rest of his roster should probably try and focus up on, you know, just doing their jobs as these more supporting operators, like the Ace, like the Thatcher, and also like the Brava, people that are able to actually get some things for themselves and be able to assist the player that is genuinely just on the ball. Well, as we come into the final minute and 10 seconds, the final 70 seconds of the round, we are going to be seeing a bit of a chaotic bloodbath between these two rosters, where they're both trying and find these remaining players, but Shimizu finds an easy double. The AK comes around the corner, tries to get the mute, hits one bullet, but isn't able to find the frost. The triple for the round on Shimizu.
Molotov Gang absolutely just annihilated their opponents right there. It just was a little bit of an awakening from the side of Shimizu here. Walking in, getting the first, getting the second, a triple, and all of a sudden we're in a 2v2. Then all of a sudden we are in a 1v2 scenario, and they're just gone. The entire round has fallen apart. And this is how easy you can fall if you don't get the trades, if you don't get the refrags of a swing coming through from a 4v2 scenario to then a 1v2 scenario favoring Molotov Gang. Now they are on a 2-4 split. They have the upper hand now when it comes to the round advantage, but now they are the attacking team. Now they need to show what they can bring on the board. As minions, they're gonna move now to the safe side, or rather to the more favored in this defensive side of meta. They're gonna be moving downstairs into the basement with kind of the same setup, kind of the same operator lineup. Is this kind of a trend coming through with the clash?
Yeah, one thing I'm very happy we're seeing on this setup is going to be the Legion shotgun. Playing on those stairs, going to be probably falling off and trying to make his way back into pillar by the end of it. See what he can do from that position. But I'm pretty sure the last time we saw a Legion on the shotgun inside a pillar, it was an ace. It was definitely a clutch, but I think it was an ace. And yeah, it was a phenomenal play that we saw. So, hoping we see a bit of prowess, a bit of proficiency from the Legion in his position, but he does take a bit of damage. So Jackal just going to be run clearing the upstairs using his gadget to see if any footsteps have been made in that general vicinity. We do, however, know that one of the flaws with Jackal is, especially in comp, it becomes a lot more apparent, where you scan some footprints, you try and find out where a player is, you give yourself the information necessary in order to, gather a bit of space, but then you realise that every player you've scanned, you've used 3 scans, and you've scanned all people on site. And it's like, well, I know they're going to be on site. Didn't really give me anything. Which is why you'll see a lot of these teams sort of use their more anchoring operators, things like that, that mirror, that... Ooh, excuse me. Or that clash to go and reinforce the hatches and things in order to make sure that they're the ones that are leaving footprints sort of dotted around on the upstairs, so the players that they're already aware of the location of.
As you said it beautifully, we do see the first 3 flashes coming through, a drop as well. The execute is happening right here now, but we are being shut down immediately. The drop was not quite as successful. We do have the trades now starting to come through, but just Destruct here with the shotgun close range. It's just a pain to deal with. As he's gonna hold onto Pillar with his dear life and try and make sure it does stay into the possession of the minions. The Superior is gonna find himself being taken out. Now Alex is here to support Destruct with the shotgun at close range. As soon as the push comes in, he can just swing and get the freebies one by one. His swing comes through. Well, it's not going to be the one to take the kill, but rather the enemies. It's all of a sudden we're in a 1v3 scenario. Alex taking a little bit of damage. It is the clash at the end of the day. But it's just the close range. As the swing comes in with the pistol, and that is shut down as Molotov move up yet another scoreline. And now we are in a 2-5. And I think we can say, I do see a little bit of history. I do, I have a little bit of flashbacks, like flashbacks coming through, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, very, very little bit. We could very much be seeing another repeat scoreline of what we saw before, as we have kind of followed that trend up to this point. So we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, we are just kind of seeing these. We are just seeing these teams sort of go for similar setups on both sides. Both teams bringing the similar sort of operators, but with very minor sort of discrepancies between the two.
I thought you were gonna say something more. I was just like, okay, yeah.
No, it's just
I was agreeing with you, and all of a sudden there was nothing.
On the same operators, apart from like 1, maybe 2 here and there, which is, I don't know, a bit weird to me because I feel like it doesn't really give your team any character if you're not like experimenting with things, making strats that are aside from the more default strats in order to try and like bring something fresh and new in towards your opponent, even if it's just a much older strat that you maybe have seen in the past.
I see. Well, does look like we're gonna have a quick entry here. Just in the classroom, it does not seem like that we have the information as the swing does come through. Next kill as well, but it's not gonna be super fine in the first one, but rather Deathstroke. So we do have a little bit of damage coming through, bullets left, right, and center. 2 trades coming through to the side of Molotov Gang. Now they have the man advantage, and it's looking already scary as it's very early in the round. We've lost him and Lucy and Wumai, and Wumai does recharge his gadget over time. Another one's gonna fall. We have, I think, activated the demon himself. Jimisho's gonna find another one. In a 2v4 scenario, we saw how quickly it can go down. We saw how quickly the defense can make it back down. But can they do it this time? As the first one out of 4 are set now. There's 3 more to go. Enough time to isolate each of these players. Enough time to make a lot of these 1v1s happen. But again, in a 1v1, if you do take the 1v1, it's a little bit of a risk taker. Because as soon as you lose your gunfight, you put yourself and you position your teammate in a 1vx scenario. As we can see, time is ticking down even further. And the minions are just looking for a few entry points. They're looking here to get a few of these kills done. As the first toxic babe. Smoke connectors are coming through. Planned as well. Alex gonna move forwards, leaving his position, coming in with the swing, and nobody there to defend him. And all of a sudden, there is. He just swings in. Another kill happening. And this is Molotov Gang moving to a match point on a 6-2 scenario. And Naj, I don't think I need to tell you, but now the mantle is a key point here.
Yeah, it does look a little bit dire for the side of Minions. Minions, a team that we have seen be quite prolific throughout this entire series. Or, well, not this series, but this tournament. Winners of ESA Season 6, obviously with a very big roster switch up coming through since then. Only really retaining one of the players that they had previous. But still, nonetheless, a very, very prolific team in a lot of leagues and a lot of standings. And then coming into the ESA Cup Swiss stage, just unable to really find their footing in a lot of these positions.
As you said it. Well, now it is the match point. The Molotov Gang could close this up pretty quickly with a 7-2, but we are back down to the basement spot. And usually this side does favor the defenders. So many points which have already been pointed out by you. But still the question falls and remain. Can the minions have a comeback? 4 rounds. It does seem a little bit impossible. But at the end it isn't, right? Because we saw a beautiful comeback from W7M at SI. So why couldn't they do it? Why can't minions have a comeback, right? It's just always possible to their side. They can always have a comeback. The key point here is the mentality. As already talked about, if the mentality is not there, and so is not the comeback.
Indeed, we are just seeing these players hovering around in a more sort of bunkered standard hold, playing all around the site. And one of these operators that I would very much like to just quickly uncover for the stream is the Ella. She is a phenomenal operator. One of those operators that is very pocketed in today's sort of siege. Mainly because of the lack of interesting utility that she brings, but gun-wise, with the compensator reducing 35% of your horizontal recoil, she is an absolutely phenomenal operator. Very easy recoil to control with a little bit of practice, and a 41 round magazine. It's essentially the UMP on roids. It's so good. But we are seeing the defenders kind of run away with it here. If you want to take over, Dianic.
Beautiful said it's not just a little bit of a run over, but rather a quick take of a round, as we all now in a 4v2 scenario. A lot of these kills happen now favoring the side of the minions, so they're gonna stay, probably gonna try to stay alive one more round of this. But there again, a 2v4 can quickly fall. Close range cover here with the shotgun. If we don't peek to the right, this could be very dangerous. We now have the footsteps, we know somebody's on the right now. We have the life ping coming through, but can we find this headshot? As I said, a one-shot headshot game. That is pretty much it. The first one to land the shot is the first one to take the kill, but just don't get too distracted by the clash. She's gonna take a lot of damage, but not quite enough for the kill. He did manage to retreat back here, get himself out of danger. C4 is being popped, and the only one to take damage is the teammate. Swing coming in is the clash from behind, but it's gonna be the kill one by one, and this is minions staying alive one more round. 3-6 now, still favoring Molotov, still a few more rounds they could give away, but is a comeback possible? What does Minion need to do? What have they done in this round especially good to get another win? What do they need to do, Nash, in order
More
to
of
win
that.
the next 3 rounds?
Playing off each other, playing these refrags, using the clash, especially an operator that is intended to be used that way as a form of bait in order to lure these players in, maybe get them into a false sense of security, or even try and congest their push like she did in the round we just saw, in order to try and find the kills elsewhere. From your players. So I think if they're able to just like position themselves around each other, play these more safety angles, they will be able to be in a much better position going forward. I think that genuinely they could bring this back to a more overtime-worthy scoreline.
Indeed, trades and refrags, as you said. Well, now we are on the top floor. Remember last time what happened? Didn't quite end too well. But now this is their second time. They could potentially win here. This round. Make it a 6-4. And as I said, as soon as the scoreline hits 6-4, a lot of the teams start to wake up. And a lot of the teams start to awaken their inner demon. And then we would see pretty much an overtime. And I would love to see an overtime here. Because I think the minions had a little bit of a rough start into the attack and onto the defense, not quite finding these pieces one by one. But the time has to tell. The time is ticking now, slowly but steady. Not a single kill has happened yet, so I think this round might be one of the slower ones.
Very much so. This methodical sort of style coming out of the attackers, something you can very much kind of read into with the Thermite, with the Flores, and with the Brava as well. These sort of like more methodical siege operators, but operators that are going to be utilized in that way of just making sure you're able to get things done slowly but surely, in towards that eventual sort of last minute style of plant and pressure.
Again, a lot of kills happened, one each for the sides. A lot of damage done as well. The damage are now going to be secured, 2 more kills, but again, 1 piece for each of the sides, down to a 3-3 scenario now. 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock soon. And Molotov gang, they need to secure themselves slowly but steady. The round, slowly but steady, they need to make an execute here, otherwise the time is just gonna take out, and once that happens, we need to take another round, and with that they would throw away another match point opportunity, as we do see Molotov gang taking a little bit of damage here, and the health advantage favoring quite a lot the side of minions, even if we would count the health together. With 2 players of Molotov, we wouldn't come quite close to a full health here, as the verticality is going to be a little bit of a problem. Superior is going to find 1 out of 2 trades coming through, but just a double kill for him. Now 1v2 scenario now. One of them is on wide. We have the information, but where's the other one? He is planting. So the swing is through. Does find 1. Can we find the second? No, we can. And this is Molotov game. Finding the win, finding the last round, and this is them moving with a 7-3 yet again, winning and securing themselves another point.
Absolutely amazing work, managing to get themselves in and play around their positions in order to try and bait out that player into the final engagement, with the Flores being a bit more ready than the Azami may be expecting. So I'm very happy to see a bit of an upset with how one-sided the production votes were, and also with the actual social vote being inverted to the scoreline as well. So I think overall this is an absolute win. And well, as one team moves down in the Swiss stage, the other team goes up and beyond. So sit tight, stay strapped in, because we got one more match still to go. See you there. Hello and welcome back to ESA Cup Season 8. I am joined again by Dianic.
Hi guys, I'm still here. We're still here, both together.
Woo! But right, we've seen two of the games for today. One of them was an upset. The other one was just a bit kind of expected, especially by the social vote more than anything. Um, so I think looking into how the next game is going to go, the best place we're going to be able to look is that social vote after we've looked at these. So first, we said pretty 50-50. We got 3 for SFD, 3 for Polestar on one side, and then we got 3 and 3 once again. So it's completely 50-50. 6 votes for each. Both teams going to be looking to prove our half of us wrong, I guess. But yeah, we've also got the social vote. We'll check that now. And what do we see? We got 65% for Aspire.
It's actually a little bit more favored to one team than from our staff prediction, because the staff prediction, as you guys saw, was 50-50, and here we have a 65% to Aspire. So pretty interesting, I would say, because again, community could be right, community could be here on a good point that Aspire could be taking this win, but it could be again an upset. What if the community is now having an upset? So
Definitely
and I would
could.
say, Nash, that you take us over the bands again.
Oh, I remember why you're doing this now. Right. So we had Oregon and Consulate both lose out very, very early, alongside Cafe and Nighthaven, that were swiftly dealt with afterwards. So neither team really want to be playing these sort of newly changed maps or anything like that. They don't want to play Oregon because Oregon's boring. They don't want to play Cafe because it's a box. They don't want to play Border because it's too aggressive. They decided not to play on Chalet because no one wants to play methodically at this day and age. They decided against Skyscraper because realistically we don't want a 6-0 defender half. And they decided against Bank because it's Bank. And now we have Clubhouse.
So Nash, how much are you crying right now? Because backstage, you guys need to know backstage, basically when we're not on stream, Nash is not quite the biggest fan when it comes to Clubhouse, right? So
I hate this man.
How does it make you feel, right?
Well, I'm glad you've outed me on stream. I
I'll never do such thing.
Yeah, Clubhouse. Look, man, if you've got a site that isn't worth playing because of how well or how overplayed the map is, like there isn't really something that can be said or whatever to save the predicament you're in. I just think, like, realistically, play something else. Because look, it's like there's two maps currently in the comp pool that I could happily see us getting rid of. And those two maps you might expect to be Club and Oregon. It's not. It's Club and Cafe. Because realistically, they're both
Hold on. Why are
two.
you hold on? Why are you shooting against the two maps I absolutely love this
Because
map on? I love Cafe and I love Clubhouse. Why are you shooting against it?
Club and Cafe are the only two maps in the competitive map pool that have sites that aren't worth playing as a defender. Just saying.
Listen, I think you're just a classic hater right now here. I see. So basically, you're saying this because you personally you just want to attack me, right? Because I love Cafe, I love Club. Like, why would you pick these maps? And I mean, Cafe, you saw also that a lot of teams started playing the fourth tertiary side, so it is still worth playing. And I think Clubhouse is a good just basic addition. Like when it comes to Clubhouse, it's just a good addition to coming back to the roots, right?
Yeah, I guess. But that's realistically what Oregon's for. Like
Nah,
one of the
I think it's
longest
something
standing
wrong
maps in the map pool
there.
that's very fundamentally heavy. You know, that's what Oregon's for. Um, just hearing word from our production that there will only be 4 hand cams for one of the teams instead of 5 because well, the side of Aspire has two brothers on the same team that are playing in the same room. I'm not too sure which players they are. Oh, Casper and Carol, I've been told. Um, could be wrong, but that sounds actually quite interesting. That sounds like a lot of fun. And it's going to be the first time since SI that I'm going to be seeing brothers play in the same match where they're not against each other. So it's going to be nice to see uh, their passion throughout this match.
Well, if the win happens, we might like you guys are not gonna see them might hug each other. If the lose happens, well, we all know how brothers are at this point, ladies and gents. I don't think there's anything to hide there. Like, nah, it's not gonna be anything like that. But brothers with brothers and stuff like that.
I mean, that's how it'd be with my siblings. We lamp each other.
I mean, if you
um,
had siblings, then you definitely can pull something out here and just imagine how it could be. So, Nash, the real question now stands. Right. We have the poll, we have the prediction from the community, we have the poll from the staff members. Which team do you think, without saying anything, with just based off vibes, right? But based off the map band we have seen, based off the names, based off the logo, which team do you think is gonna win?
Aspire.
Explain. Do
There's
you?
no real like explanation to be had. I think comfortably that Aspire are one of the better teams that ESA has this season. And I will openly say that. I don't want to fuel any egos because realistically, that could make you play phenomenally worse because you get like complacent or whatever. But I think that one of the better teams in ESO right now is probably Aspire. They're one of the teams that seem to be very confident in the way that they play, and they're very adept in like changing things and just trying to rejig the way they play and the things that they're really trying to do in order to find themselves a win. How about yourself?
Well, based off vibes, based off the bands I've seen, and because I don't quite, you know, I don't quite fancy a team who bans Cafe, right? Because I love Cafe. I think, I'm gonna say against you. I think Pulsar is gonna take this, because I love Cafe, right? I love Cafe. We may have Club Personal, which I also absolutely love, but if a team bans Cafe, I'm just gonna be like, but why? Why do you ban a block of map? It's just very simple to attack. It's very basic
On
from
the
a
Lego
logical
brick.
standpoint. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the enemy team. I'm gonna go with Pulsar Legacy. I think they're gonna take themselves to win. It may be a little bit rough, but we have the 50-50 from the staff. We may not have the community votes, but it can be another upset. At the end of the day, it is a best of one, so the team was better prepared. The team who just has more hero plays today maybe just succeeds more.
very much could be the case. On a map like Clubhouse, it's one that realistically, I'm hoping to see a bit of conjunction from the attackers, because on the defense it can be relatively stale, relatively samey, and I just don't think that if we're gonna see too much of this sort of stagnation, like especially if we see some of these random little castle strats that people have been bringing out on club, and like these little like funny strategies that people are bringing out on sites that are a bit unorthodox, like for example on CC where they play it in the lounge, or like on the basement site where they will play all of the castles around blue, and it's like a very your boy Roy type strategy. It's incredibly weird, but I think that like it can get pretty stale for the attackers, because they're trying to push into something that is just like very, very slightly varied from what is norm. So I think that if we see a lot of stagnation from the attacking side, we could see a very easy, clean defensive win for whichever team starts on the defense. And if we see a bit more of a disconjuncted defensive side, then we could see a bit more, proficiency out of the attack.
Well, just a few more minutes, a few more seconds, guys, so don't worry, the game will start any second. You guys don't have to listen to our yapping the entire time, just a few more seconds, as the players have now finally, everybody has joined the lobby, so we're gonna be going into the game anytime soon, so please do bear with us for a few more minutes. You're gonna have to listen to our yapping even more, as now we're going into the map, and it is, as you guys already saw and as you guys already know, as we guys have been yapping about the entire time, it is Clubhouse map that has been played so many times. I think we know at this point how to... Oh, rather interesting. As a team was penalized by Pulsars being a bit late, they have gotten 3 rounds taken away from them because of being late. So guys, remember, be on time and do not punish, because ESA, they're cruel.
Bro, it's such a defender-sided matter
with 3
as
points
well.
into their pockets, and I'm just joking, guys. They got penalties because they were a little bit late. So they have been taking away the chance of 3 rounds to win a win here. So maybe, Nash, maybe you knew this all along. See, that's why you think, that's why you picked Asphalt, right? But I believe in Pulsar Legacy, because I myself, I'm late very often, especially people who know me know a little bit. They know I have a very hard time being perfectly on time. I'll be one or 2 minutes late, right? That is just basically me. So I'm just feeling with Pulsar here, and I'm happy I picked them.
ESA knows me for about the exact same thing. I'm gonna be completely honest. You heard them say that like he's on time when I joined the VC. They bully me, because I am usually late, and it usually ends up with a Bosmax Discord message that just says, "Where are you?" So that's another one for me as well. But I hope you are able to find a bit of closeness with the roster you've chosen, because at the moment it is a bit distant, especially with the side of Aspire starting on this defense, and well, the side also having to work it out as they go along.
Well, we are here on a roaming spot, so we could potentially fall here immediately, but Casper's gonna be the first one to take a kill here. Beautiful little kill there. Was a peek hole, a punch hole, but at the end Casper just took the kill. Casper just extending the lead with another one with a triple, but at the 4th one is going to be punished, and he's not gonna take it, but a double for Hugo here. And
he's now screaming in his brother's ears.
Line closer Well, what a trade. Casper just coming in. I think he was a little bit mad about the delay. I just wanted to take this quickly upon his hands. But Diego did have a say in this. So now we are in a 3v2 scenario. The mirror is going to be a little bit of a tough scenario here to deal with.
Oh.
C4 coming out. There's Carl, take him in. And a 1v3, it's not looking too good. Still a little bit of a way to go here in order to clutch this round. With enough time to do so, is 1 minute soon left on the clock. 1 minute to isolate 3 of these players, to take 3 one-on-ones and potentially win this round. We have the Hiban as a last, so we could open up these hatches. We also have 2 flashbangs to help us here with the kills. It's just the first round. It may not be on the scoreline, but it is the first round these 2 teams are playing against each other. So it's very important as the drop does come through. We have the intel, a little bit of a shots coming through. Quite missing them shortly. The first one is found, second one's not gonna be it. Because Carl from the back coming in with the swing. And this is Aspire moving up to 4-0.
Yeah, very well done for the side of Aspire. Very well done for specifically Casper. Being able to absolutely annihilate 3 people in a row with quick, concessive swings. Just being able to just completely dismantle the attacking side before the match has even begun.
I think that was beautifully from Casper, putting his team so early in a man advantage. Kind of already set the tone for that round. And maybe you maybe you had the script all along in your pockets and you were just a little bit cheeky about it and didn't want to tell us about the script. Because now we are in the 4, and as we said, Pulsar did get punished for being late. So now there are 2 more rounds they need to attack. 2 more rounds they have the chance to adapt to potentially get these attack rounds, but if you're being punished for 3 rounds not showing up, the next 3 rounds are going to be tough because you have the basement floor, you have the top floor, and again, the top floor is CCTV, and bedroom being still 2 very strong sites. This could potentially be, if Pulsar does not quite adapt. So as far a quick, and I'm sorry, and it's hard to say this, a quick 6-0. Because as we know, CCTV, it is a little bit of a checklist map, this entire map, Clubhouse. But CCTV is still very much defender-sided. Also, so bedroom and gym. It's gonna be very interesting to see how Pulse are trying to take this. As Amaro is already here in bedroom, trying to make his way very quickly close to side. Just gonna have to be careful because the kills are close. You could potentially see the next few seconds, the first opening pick, as we are playing with headlines here into cash. Hype's in a very important position there. Just gonna have to make sure that he's not the first one to be found as he makes his way slowly but steady, sneaking up to this door, revealing his position. Now close up to the bandit, nobody there to support him, nobody, and this is the first kill falling to the side of S-Fire, and they're setting the first storm, potentially a second one as well, and this is it, as Vita takes one, Stever being injured on the main bridge, swings come in, this is a triple for him, all of a sudden in a 1v4, all up to you, got a person who got the double kill last round, to potentially make this still onto their side, but it's not looking too good from the side of Pulsar. Hugo is the last man standing, does find 104. 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the clock. So much to go. So many pieces to collect.
Yeah,
up on his hands as we do not quite find the shots in the last one, and Casper takes the win, and this is a 5-0 now.
Yeah. Very unfortunate for the side of Pulsar, but something that we are very well aware of is the fact that Aspire are a very good team. They've obviously come into this with an advantage because the side of Pulsar was late to the match, and well, we've had 2 triple kills in a row for these, well, for the side of Aspire. One of which being for Casper in round number 1, and the other one being for iFuture in round number 2. So we are going to be seeing a few players just dip out of the match. possibly just a quick reconnect. I'm getting word from production that doesn't look like anything's it doesn't look like anything's going awry, so it's not going to be a forfeit. It's just a quick little tech pause to see what they can do and if they can bring themselves back into the game. For well, in tech pauses you're not allowed to talk. More of a mental reset.
Could be the time to have a little bit of a mental reset, as you said. But a 5-0 is just a little bit tough, as we do have the first few players returning back to lobby. And we do have now the info coming through that we're going into a quickly little of a rehost. 5 rounds, 2 rounds being played, 3 rounds being given. Now we're here in a 5-0, and it's looking tough,
It is. Clubhouse is a map that can be pretty unforgiving, as any map can be, depending on which side of the smoking gun you're on. So when it comes down to the way Aspire have played so far, it has been relatively default, and I believe that even if this started at 0-0, we probably would have seen a very similar thing go to 2-0. But the problem is, for the side of Pulsar, is Pulsar now have to figure out, and this is something that I wanted to say at the very beginning, they have to figure out how Aspire is going to be playing the defense, but they don't have those first 3 rounds to just surrender like you normally do. If you, in a worst case scenario, you surrender the first 3 rounds to the defenders in order to be able to find out sort of what they're generally going to be attempting around the full site rotation, and then you move in with your you move in with your like renewed sort of mindset and strategic capabilities in order to be able to find yourself some attacking rounds. So that's like the worst case scenario for attack, and they don't have that worst case scenario clause.
Well, as much as we want to keep you guys with our yapping and just keep talking, we're gonna go quickly in a break. As I said, the rehost is happening, so stay tuned, guys. Stay here. And here we are back again into the game after a quick little break and a quick little rehost. We're continuing at the score 5-0. As noticed, Pulsar Legacy did get a little bit of a punishment of 3 rounds. And now this is basically officially the 3rd round they're playing right now. But we're gonna continue like nothing ever happened. Don't look at the scoreline. It was a rehost, so the scores do not apply. We had so far 2 triple kills coming in from Casper and 1 from Future. Was it Future?
Right, it was Casper and Future.
Yeah, was remembering correctly.
On the
Solus on the Rome in the first round.
Yeah, and then it was Bandit.
Casper on the Future on the Bandit, close on site.
We're phenomenal casters. We are brilliant. We're really struggling to remember.
Nah, listen, you gotta take your time a little bit, right? The time is ticking down right for the attackers, but we as casters, we can just, yap a little bit around, and sometimes when there's a break and you scran something during it, you forget, and this is all human and normal. But also what's human and normal is sometimes to be the first one to be taken out. As Sevius gonna find himself being taken out.
Got a little shout out on screen by Pippa. Thank you. We love you.
Ooh, talking about it. Aspire is just gonna take out the kills one by one. All of a sudden we're in a 2v4 scenario. Yari is gonna find himself the first here to bring this even close, but it's not gonna be because Aspire just keeps getting this kill turn. They're all on the streak. They are so aggressive. They're gonna keep picking. This is Loki finding the final cleanse round. This is a match point already to the side of Aspire.
Have we seen a 7-0 already in ESA yet? Like in this season? Can I get a production confirmation on that? Do we know? There has not been a 7-0 yet. Well, we could be seeing a first. Yes, it started with a penalty, so a full 7-0 would still be a bit more impressive. But this could be the first one, which is a little interesting. It's one that really sets the tone for one of these teams moving forward in this tournament, because realistically, there is an even bigger storyline that could come out of these teams, and that is the comeback. It's been seen, it's been done, we've seen it before.
Exactly.
But it's really unlikely. We need to see a phenomenal defense out of side of Pulsar here, and well, if there's a time to do it, it's now.
Exactly. There's been so far in this season 1-7-1, 1-7-2, but not a single 7-0. So we could be potentially having here the first, as we do see S-Fire now taking it a little bit slow. They don't want to overdo themselves with a little bit of a rush. At this point, personally, I would have gone for a rush. I would have told my team, guys, listen, pick the Blitz, pick the Monty. We're going full in, sending in Ying, everything. Ying span now, mind. Monty span as well. Yikes, Dianic, look at the bands, forget it. Anyway, match in round number 7, and last match of tonight could be a little bit of a shorter match. Satisfire is taking this a little bit slower. They don't want to overdo themselves. They don't want to be too quick here. They just gotta be careful about these C4s, as we do have 3 C4s coming in from the side of Pulsar, and that could come a little bit problematic to Casper and Sivir, as both of them do have a secondary shotgun. They are doing the verticality in this team, and that could be a little bit dangerous.
Indeed, we could. But right now, it is going to be the Dekebi that is just floating around inside the bathroom. That's not the right choice of words. But instead, we are going to be seeing Carol on the opposite side. He is just throwing around a few of those track stingers in order to keep himself safe from the backside, but an impact comes through from Adam by the looks of things in order to, well, just clear a few of those out. I don't think it worked very well. It seemed to clear off the stairs in order to give him a bit more of a free entry going forward, but the man on the upstairs is going to get very quickly dealt with. No triple kill for Yugo like there was for Casper.
The first opening pick now happened to Yugo, and let's remind ourselves the second one's gonna fall. So all of a sudden we are in a 3v4 scenario favoring Pulsar Legacy, so this could potentially be their first victory here to take upon them, as Shiva is gonna find one, but is gonna find himself immediately being taken out. Yet again, an advantage to the side of Pulsar. They also still have a C4 in the hands, which they could potentially use for a planned scenario. As far, they're just gonna make sure to find these picks one by one. I said, when it comes to this down, that you're one man down, you just have to make one-on-ones happen. You have to isolate these players, and also you have to make a great push happening. Now we know at least one of these players are on this mirror window. As soon as the swing comes in, as soon as the peaks come in, this could be determined if we would see a 2v2 or a 1v3. Push is not happening, drop as well, kill happens on both the ends, but both of them falling to the side of Pulsar, and they're running away with one victory on this map so far. They could extend the lead, could potentially bring it back to a 6-6, and we would see an overtime, but here's the tricky part. It is a long way to go. 6-1, still not looking too good to the side of Pulsar.
It is indeed a very scary journey in order to get themselves back up to that 6-6 scoreline, but a good start nonetheless. Yes, it was fairly close. There was a lot of trade game going on throughout the mid-round. We did see them find their footing towards the very end. Now, do you think we're going to be able to see them maintain that? Because at the moment, I feel like the shaky beginnings is going to be their downfall towards the later portion of the round in at least one of these.
It's a little bit questionable, right? Because I think Aspire, they have the chance and they have the ability to just pull out a rush or a quick planned scenario I think if they do that, Pulsar couldn't really react too much onto it. Yes, they now have 2 C4s again, they have a few impacts. But if played correctly, they should not be able to react to a quick plan or to a quick push. This is what, especially when you're 6-0 up, yes, it is expected that people rush in. Is it expected that you're being pushed? A lot of teams still can't handle the aggression and can't handle the speed coming in from a rush, from a push. And at the end, it will come down to the 1v1s, which we know by now as far they have been solid so far. They have been really good. Maybe the first one was a little bit of an oopsie, not quite a clean of 7-1. But as you said, can they maintain that? Which is a tough question, and right now I cannot see. It feels right now that it was a little bit of a lucky round. But as soon as they get the next 2 rounds, or if they get now another round, that would show us that the defense they are quite consistent on. But it's just this round matters a lot to show, can they really do it? Or was it just a little bit of a lucky round?
Well, that's what we're here to find out. We do see a bit of contention from the Flores trying to deal with the soft walls surrounding the mirror. But at the moment, with the Ace and Thatcher on the outside of the breach, the Solace takes a swing, finds a beautiful little shot onto Thatcher's cranium, and now we're going to be looking at a bit more of an aggressive enemy player on that attack, and soon followed by a very aggressive Malusi swinging out towards the breach to see if she can find a bit of a kill for herself, but instead Crouching Man on his drone is going to be slightly hidden. C4 flies out the window, amazing to be quickly dealt with by Future, and could have been a very unfortunate turn of events if it did manage to go off.
Now we have the next few kills coming in. It's all favoring Asphyr so far in a 4v2 scenario. It's not looking too good. Yes, if one of these players is very low HP, as another one comes in, it's been Hugo finding the first, but it's going to be immediate trade-off from Carl. This man has a triple so far, and this is it. This is a 7-1 clean sweep as Asphyr take the win. And our last map of tonight. A 7-1, and it may have been too good to be true. At the end, there's we have the replay coming in, and the Cower is just getting every single refrag that there was. The first one, the second one, the third one, also even winning at the end and taking the space. It just wasn't enough from the side of Pulsar today. But maybe they can do it another time. Maybe they can come back another day even stronger.
Indeed. And, well, this is very close to the end of all we have, but first things first, there's something I very much like to do because I'm a bit of a rat, and it's effective. Diana, you can start. Is there this way? Is there anything you would like to shout yourself out for?
Damn, that's a bit unsurprising. Well, just guys, if you wanna follow some open calls, just make sure I'm casting a lot of open calls blast, so if you ever feel like you want to follow a female caster, I'm an upcoming T4 female caster, so that's a bit unsurprising, thank you.
It's alright.
I'm trying my best to improve. Is Nash, before we go into the bracket, do you want to shout out yourself?
I do. I have recently decided that I've recently decided that I would decide to start scripting a few videos talking about the different Pro League stages. And I had a relatively funny idea at the end of ESA Season 8 to maybe try and do something for outside of the Pro scene. But that's for a later date. Right now, though, on my YouTube channel, there is a 32-minute video, or maybe 33-minute, explaining pretty much the entire rundown of everything that happened last year in the European Pro League. So if you're interested in, getting a bit of information, I know the 2024 Stage 1's underway right now. Please check it out. ! Nige in the chat. Alongside that, I have a Twitch channel. It's just Nige, the same way it's spelled on here. That's all I really have to say. But we do have some standings to look at that are a little more important. And, well, I would have to ask my production because I was told earlier that the matches might not be confirmed, but we don't know yet. They are confirmed. Okay, so in the top, we are going to be seeing. Oh, it's not confirmed. I'm being lied to. But this is the potential for what we could see coming into the sort of forward portion of this event. We do obviously know that there are matches still to be going underway underneath the top of this. So over the next couple of days, they will be going down. And I think I know a few of them by logo, but not all of them yet. But essentially, um, we are going to be going through those over the next couple of days in order to see who's going to be moving forward. Tomorrow, specifically, who do we have playing, Diana?
Oh, tomorrow we have retirement home against Cosma Gaming. As a second game, we have Linner's Defense League against Crown Zero, and as the final game of tomorrow, we have Phoenix Esports against Eagle Empire. Now, do sorry if I butchered any of these names. I'm very sorry, but if I didn't, I'm very happy. If I did, I do apologize. So tomorrow, make sure to tune in, guys. For today, that was it. We've presented every single game of tonight. It was a best of one, 3 games each. Every game has been finished. We saw the standing, we saw the predictions. So I would say, guys, make sure to tune in tomorrow. Thank you to the production. Thank you to the Observer. Thank you to our beautiful projecting team in the background, but also thank you guys to the players, to the communities, because without you guys, this would not be possible. With the teams, we would not even have games to watch. So thank you guys so much for participating, and I hope to see you guys back again tomorrow in the Twitch chat here on this league, because another best of one 3 times is going to be presented to you tomorrow. There you go. Jesus.
Good night.
Good night, guys.